Hello, fellow mothers and women, and what a neat day to celebrate. Uh, this has been something that I've been looking forward to for a few weeks, and here's what my vision is. I want to give you a little bit of an introduction of who's speaking to you and why I chose in. Hey, my husband just joined on. You're the only man on the list, Eddie. um, Here's what I want it to look like. Here's my vision of a little bit of, hey, who is this talking to us in the first place? Why I'm here and why I feel guided and excited to be here. And then diving right into this idea of mission-driven motherhood, and not from the standpoint of, oh, here's the beautiful, wonderful aspects of life, but kind of the real pieces of what it is and how we kind of choose to create some power out of that. So I'm excited to be real with you and to connect with you in a way, and I really honor you for whether you're on here live now or whether you're watching later. Like, way to grow and way to build yourself. Like, that's tricky to juggle amidst being a mom and amidst managing other aspects of life. Like, I totally honor you for being here. Okay, so I'm Jen Garrett. I'm the mom of 8 going on 9. In fact, my tummy's at too cute of a stage. We'll see if this even works, but here's my proof. Here's this little 9th little girl coming. We've got 4 boys and 4 girls. Here's our tiebreaker. The girls are taking the title for now. And I have this motherhood piece that I love. We've homeschooled for 11 years. My oldest is here, and we've homeschooled from the beginning. And we just put a few of our kids are still homeschooling in a few private schools. We're experimenting with some of that support with the end of my pregnancy, needing a few extra hands in there. My husband and I also do doTERRA together full time. We've been together since 2010, since he's been home since then, which has meant that my life's been a lot easier since my husband's been home to help us juggle and manage. We had 4 children when we started doTERRA, and now we're going on 9, and so it's been a sweet season. So we've loved that natural oils and world that way, and we've loved the mom and family piece, and we've loved finding a balance in that. So where we're playing really big in the business world, and we're playing really big in a family home creative world, and I would have never guessed any of that could be. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of that journey and how that was created, or how that was created, because it's made a difference. It's made a difference in my life, and it's made a big difference in my kids' lives because of the kind of home environment that they're living in. For me, I began a little bit of greater awareness around 2008. I was expecting my 5th child, and I was super overwhelmed. Money stuff felt tight. I felt stressed as a mom. It was what I had hoped it would be in some ways, and it was also kind of crazy, much wilder than I expected it to be in other ways. And
are you sad?
we may need Megan, do you mind putting you on yours? Do you know how? Thanks, my dear. How about we just meet everybody? With all of us moms on here. There we go. Thank you, Carmel. With all us moms on here, there's going to be some stuff going on in the background, because that's what the truth is. And that was part of why I said, hey, I'm just coming into the studio because I can guarantee my quiet results if that's where we're at. So I love those little ones making noise. I'm with you. So I was starting in this place of life just felt hard, and motherhood was something I wanted and I was enjoying aspects of, but it was also really heavy and hard. And I felt once that 5th one was born, fairly postpartum, and just kind of in my own world. And the idea of even doing something outside of the home or blessing families in other ways that way just felt like too much. Like, why would I ever take anything else on when I already feel buried? I am grateful for opportunities to kind of step into things and give it a try, because stepping into some of that helped me to realize that there was some joy and satisfaction that actually I was able to bring back into my home and mothering. And this is where some of these ideas of mission-driven motherhood came into play, where it was like, gosh, this is right around we were starting homeschooling too, 2007, and my oldest was 5. Um, Stepping into, oh, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something more that we could do. So we started some of the business pieces. We started some of the stepping into the homeschool pieces. My life started looking really different than others around me, and I thought, gosh, is that okay? Is that okay that that I look different, that my life is different? And those are sometimes kind of challenging places to be, and to think, is that okay or not? And so we're just experimenting day at a time, stepping into pieces and getting better and better, finding confidence. That's one of the biggest pieces I'm learning, especially looking back, preparing for this. I was reading back in some of my journals of the past years, and I found just some of the day-to-day, some of the stuff where it's like, gosh, what am I doing? I'm so tired, so bone tired, or oh, I'm so full. And it feels crazy having all my kids so young and nobody big to help. And just remembering, oh yeah. And it was, oh, that was hard. And it also was like, wow, we've really made some progress. Some of these issues aren't as stressful or as hard for me anymore. That's fun that we've made some progress. And I think so often I'm thinking, oh, here's something else I'm still working on with my kids, or a new direction I'm trying to grow, and just forgetting to focus on the progress that has happened. And realizing, and from me, it came from homeschooling, was this idea of, gosh, what's the vision? What do I want to create in my home? What do I want this to be like? And it's not anything I've necessarily seen or can have a clear vision of that I'm copying after. I'm getting to be a little bit of a pioneer, but thinking, gosh, what do we want it to feel like here? What do we want it to be like? I want an affectionate family. I want a well-read family. I want a connected family. I want us to want to be together. And I want me to want to be there as much as I want the kids to want to be there. And I'm just asking some of these questions and exploring some of these pieces, and realizing that being mothers, it doesn't just happen to us. Just this weekend, I hear something that I've heard a lot from people who are talking about having a big family, or about people who do, saying, oh, it takes a certain kind of person to have a big family. They have to have I don't have the kind of patience that would entail, or that would be too much for me. And it's so interesting to me to just quietly, mouth closed, listening to some of this, because it's like, gosh, did I say I'm that kind of person? No, I wouldn't. In fact, I had a head injury in high school. It makes it so I can't even filter background noise at all. So when I have 4 kids talking to me, it's like, oh, this is so chaotic. There's so much noise. Like, I really need stillness. And partly, and with the head injury as well, I need like a good 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep a night. And like, that's not part of motherhood. Like, how would that work? And if you look at the stats or the facts of what I'm up for, and what I have in my home, it's like, well, she doesn't seem to fit that mold of, oh, they came that way. So whenever I hear, which I hear often, oh, it takes a certain kind of person to have a big family, it's like, well, I think we choose to do that. And that's kind of this message of this word that goes right along with this mission-driven motherhood, of this idea of choosing. Like, I choose to have a big family, not because I already have what it takes to do it, but because hopefully through the process of that, I'm learning a little more patience. I'm learning to be a little more serene in the midst of some chaos. I'm learning to see that chaos as a little more beautiful than just chaos. Because beautiful chaos has a whole different connotation and feeling than chaos, which I see both of throughout each day. And I'm just seeking to choose more of that beautiful chaos piece. But I am realizing that we get to choose to be chosen. And for me, with a big family being one of my visions or goals, I'm choosing it, not because I'm already patient or ready or even up for that, but just because I want it. And guess what? Through the course of it, and sometimes, I'm sure there's a more inspired way to say it, but sometimes it's like, oh, I feel like all these children is kind of beating the patience into me. Like, and there's got to be, again, a better word than beating it, but that's just kind of how it feels. Like, I am learning some of those pieces because of the journey. It didn't come first. It came after, and it came through. And this really is what I came to do. And it's interesting because I could be speaking and have spoken on the business platform of here's how to be powerful in that world. And for me, getting to speak on the mothering side of it is just a beautiful piece because that matters to me. And it matters to me more. And it's been a fun opportunity to balance between the two of big business uh, and big family life and connected family life and committed family life. And just that it really is possible. And it's not, oh, we can have it all because we can't, but we can have it and choose the pieces that matter the most to us. So I said, hey, I really want to stay homeschooling. So I'm going to have to figure out how to work the hours of everything out so that I can do both, because that's what's most important to me, or different aspects of family or home. There really is a way to do, not have it all, but to do the key parts of both. And that's been fun to discover because I didn't know that was possible. I think about my growing up, like my dad, he had a great business, taking great care of their family financially, and then he went back to school with 5 kids at home, sold that business, and just lived off that while he went back to school, got his master's degree in social work because that was his mission, and it's continued to be. And he's blessed so many families and lives and children. I keep meeting people, and they're like, "Oh, I know your dad. He helped my family." And usually I don't ask him too much because he helped him with drug and alcohol abuse and addictions in teens. But I just smile knowing, what a difference he made and what a mission life he made. And he just chose to go back to school in the middle of life and say, I want to choose something more. And my mom had a crazy childhood growing up with a stepmom that things didn't work out well. And she chose to create a different kind of mom connection and experience. So, wow, what a mission that she's lived, choosing to create something totally different and be this great chain breaker and just create such a powerful childhood for me that was so grounding and fortifying. And often as I'm seeking to create this connection with my kids or homeschooling days, I'm just doing all what my mom did, painting on the back patio with her kids. Like she just was so connected and having fun prizes under her bed for each day in the summer of activities to do, like just this committed, mission-driven mom of creating something great in this stable environment for her kids. Wow, like I honor her for that. And I've even seen it in my husband. I went down his cubicle years ago around that 2008 time period and said, honey, why are you here? Like, this isn't you. And he heard the loving way I was seeking to say that, not the critical way, and was starting to ask questions. What would I do if I could do anything, if I wanted to do what I loved? And he stepped into honestly what he was put here on the planet to do. Totally his mission is he's mentoring and guiding people and helping free other families. We just hit a big goal in our business of 100 diamonds on our team, which that just means 100 people that are doing this full time, having a big influence, that it's not just for us, it's for other people. It has nothing to do with the compensation plan. It's not even on there. It's just something we wanted to create because we wanted it to be for other people. We wanted to have that influence, and my husband's living that. And that is so inspiring. It's so great to have this partnership because today, getting in the car to come here, my babysitter had some crisis at home, and so she canceled. And I was like, "Hey, hon, what are you doing today? Can you cover for me on our 1-year-old and our 4-year-old who are at home right now?" And he's like, I'm on it. I got it. And I'm just so grateful to be partnered with him and living away, choosing to live a mission and choosing to live something bigger. And I say this very humbly because I continue to want to play smaller than God wants me to play. It just feels safer. It just feels easier. And that has been my biggest thing over the course of the last almost 10 years of just seeking to step into a playing bigger because God has way bigger vision for me than I do. I never envisioned this kind of a business as just a normal kid. How could we have this kind of success? How could we bless so many lives and have the kind of influence we do? I wouldn't have ever expected that. And even having 9 children, like I never guessed that number ever. That wasn't even, we said a big family, but we were thinking like, oh, I had 5 in my family. My husband had 8 in his, maybe somewhere between there is what we'll do. We'll take them one at a time. We know it's game on. And lo and behold, we create this awesome full family home, more than I ever dreamt of. And I'm grateful for that. And I feel like a big part of that is just this idea of choose. And in fact, my dad would be proud of me. He grew up as this great social worker saying, hey, you're a chooser. You choose what you feel, you choose what your life is like. And it's been fun to embody that. I remember my first primary talk was about being a chooser. And how can we choose and step into what we really want? And can we really have it? And isn't that for other people? All the process of going through that step by step. But just what a gift it is to realize we really can choose and we really can step into something big. And whatever our big piece is, the peek at my notes to see what other pieces I want to make sure to bring out. Okay. We're covering all right. So I wish this could be a little more interactive because I think it would be fun to be able to connect in that way, because it's interesting thinking of what stops us, what comes in the way, what limits us. And I think for me, part of what limits me is when I have a bad day or I have a bad couple hours, and realizing that it's okay to have things flop. It doesn't always look good. It doesn't always look big or clear. That there is a space to figure it out. I think one of the pieces that works for me is that I'm willing to keep showing up each day as a mother. I come back the next day and think, okay, here's that piece that didn't go very well, or oh, I didn't sleep very well, or oh, this feels stressful. But how can I keep showing up and keep moving forward? And I'm showing up with this, this little piece on the tip of my finger. Here's all I've got to offer today, but I'm just going to keep showing up. I am often, I feel like I vacillate from this. I'm clear and I know what I'm doing and I'm feeling like I'm accomplishing it. And then I vacillate back to this piece of, gosh, sometimes I feel trapped as a mother. Sometimes I feel worn and I feel emptied out. And how do I balance, or how do I stay in the midst of those pieces? And that navigation really is where some of that power and mission piece comes from, because that's where we just keep moving forward and find what doesn't work. And instead of beating myself up over, oh, this isn't working, what am I going to do going forward? It's more of the, hey, what can I do differently? What can I change? Oh, that flopped big. Okay, good to know. I'm not going to do that again. And instead of thinking, oh, I should have never done that, and why did I make such a terrible choice? And just seeking to forgive and move forward and realize that'll be okay. So I want to talk about a cool experience I had last night. It was the end of the day. I'm in my third trimester, so my back's sore. Around ligament was really sore. I'm having all kind of heartburn, so I'm laying down on the couch, and lo and behold, it's dinner time. That ever happened to you guys? That time of day when you actually have something that's fairly important and you've got nothing. And my 14-year-old and 12-year-old boys were in the room. I'm like, hey, can you guys cover dinner? And I just guided them on all the different pieces to make tacos. And so I'm just from the couch guiding. They're making it happen. I've got my 1-year-old and 4-year-old playing at my feet. A couple other kids are in and out of the house on different events. And I'm just sitting there being like, this is kind of working. And it's so easy for me to focus on, oh, well, but here's something going on with the 16-year-old. How do I figure this piece out with his school? And how do I figure out this scheduling thing for my other daughter's birthday this week? And I'm juggling all these pieces and thinking, gosh, how can I spend so much time thinking about what's not working instead of what is working? Like, all I know is in this moment, I wasn't up for dinner, and like a way was found. And it was great because we sat down at the table. My 14-year-old was like, Mom, thanks so much for dinner. This is great. And then I just laughed because I'm like, you made it. And he's like, well, thanks for telling me what to do. Thanks for guiding me through on what it is. And it's like, gosh, like, I'm pretty sure things can look a little messier and that it can be okay. That it can work. Here's another little experience that's been coming up in my mind where I'm just seeking to see the good. It's so easy to focus on what isn't working. And I find a little more joy or a little more energy to keep moving forward or to find answers for what isn't working when I'm in a little bit more of that gratitude space of what is. I've been having a little fun nesting, of course, in the end of pregnancy, and was doing some decorating. And my favorite piece of several throughout the house is actually just this bench in my closet. And it's like a walk-in closet. It has this cute hobbit circle window and whatever. So there's space. I'm not like in this little cramped whatever space. So anyway, sitting in my closet. I got this awesome bench. It's like super comfortable that I can just sit on and get dressed in because it's hard to reach my feet, whatever, getting dressed. But I'm amazed at how much joy something like that brings. It's a place that I can not just stand in each other closet, sit in each other in my closet. Like it's just a little bit of joy amidst some of the chaos. There's a quiet space. So it's interesting looking at our lives and looking amidst all the problems, and those are the lists, and that how do we solve things, and thinking of what are the sources for joy in it. And for me, it's that bench, and for me, it's that dinner did work out. And sometimes I worry, well, how are all the other dinners going to work out? My back's hurting way too early in this pregnancy to manage. We still have a few months left, and it's like seeking to stay in that space between the two sides of it's okay. We'll find a way, and we'll figure pieces out as we go. And that trust and the need for that. So here's the question for you in your life of how do you see that joy piece? How do you see the joy pieces in life amidst some of the chaos pieces? And how do we see them more as that beautiful chaos versus the stressful chaos? Ooh. So let's even talk about this piece too of how do we come to understand what our mission is or what our part is. I think part of my journey on that was thinking of what was I put here to do, and identifying what gifts. I took a bunch of personality tests. It was kind of this soul purpose intensive training that I went to, saying, hey, what am I here to do? And realizing, hey, I'm a torch, and I want to be that torch to other women and other families. And how can I be that? And finding different aspects. And I can be a torch in business, and I can be a torch in homeschooling, and I can be a torch in just mothering and in family. And I think of being a torch in marriage and helping those relationships to be strong, and thinking, how can I apply this mission to those different areas? And how can I just show up in my not knowing the perfect answer, or not knowing the best way or best path? So identifying what some of those pieces might be, and then some of the way was just made clear, that just finding opportunities to be a light, because we really want to influence. That's why the opportunity to share, whether it's today, which I guarantee we could flip screens with anybody listening right now and have a really powerful message, because we're here to do something. We're here to make an impact in our homes. We're here to make an impact with the others around us, and have fun to get to choose into some of that. What have you done lately that's brave or that required courage? And how can you honor yourself for that? Because what a cool opportunity to stand tall and do something that was scary, and do something that you knew would help or bless someone else. Those are part of what that mission can look like. And those mission isn't done yet. It's not this is just the first stage that we're all in that piece. One other thought I wanted to make sure I shared is just how powerful it is for what we've chosen into. We all came home from the hospital with our baby, and we didn't turn around and take the baby back. I know for me that was a little bit daunting coming home. like I just seek to honor us as we close in what we are choosing to do, um, what we've what we've done so far, and just the gratitude and awareness of how powerful it is for what's happened so far. And yes, we've got the two sides of here's the gratitude for what I am doing and where I'm at and what's happening and how grateful I am for that. And then there's also this space of here's what I want to become, and here's where I want to grow, and I'm not there yet, and here's how I'm stretching. I'm trying to find that good balance as we go between the two places of so grateful for what my life is, and I'm still striving to create more. And it's almost like there's some lack in the I'm striving to create more, there's more to do, but seeking to find a balance in the midst of those pieces so that we uh, can find peace and grounding. And I feel like some of that gap is filled by the idea of just progress, whether we're looking at how far we've come or what we've done. And I feel like for me, when I'm wanting to stretch or do more than what I'm doing, that doesn't often come from a place where I'm thinking